you think of my short? I've just finished making them. They're really cool and they've got a lovely frill all the way around them. I hope you like them. I'm going to be making them today. Will you come and join me? That would be great. See you there. So when you get your pattern, you're going to get a piece like this, and as you can see, this is going to be the back of your pattern. I'll put all the marks on it, and this will be the front. So that'll be slightly lower at the front because the dolls have got a strange bottom, so that you need that extra bit on the back to cover up on their bottom. Then what I did was I went to the sewing machine and I just got some old sheet material. You know, I use sheets, but just a plain piece of white fabric or whatever you've got. And then I took my piece of cardboard and I folded down my top of my shorts, and I've just folded that over just the once like that, and then I took it again and I folded it out, so that was on the 1/4 inch, and then I folded it again on the 1/2 inch, just like that. And then out of the fat 1/4 I was able to get 2 pieces which are 20.5, and I cut them both at 1.5 inches, and then I folded it in 1/4 inch there, and then I turned it over again and folded that in another 1/4 inch, just like that. And I did that on both pieces. And then we're going to go to the sewing machine next, and we're just going to put a hem onto the bottom of these pieces, and then we're going to do a tack and stitch all the way across the top so that we can gather them. So I'm going to try and a different camera angle. As you know, I've been trying these camera angles, so I'm going to try them out. Just moved my fabric underneath, and I've got a 1/4 inch quilting foot onto my machine. You don't need this, but it does help if you can. All we're going to do is we're going to put a row of stitches right along here, just an ordinary stitch, and I've got mine set on a number 4 stitch. I'm going to do 2 forward. 3, I think, and then we're going to just go back 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we're going to go all the way down, keeping that nice and straight and close to that very edge of that line. I'm going to try and get my hands around. So just keep doing that until you get to the very end. So once you've got your nice straight line all the way along, what you need to do is come over to here, and we're going to change our stitch. Now mine just goes like that, and that's the biggest stitch I've got, and I use that to make a tacking stitch. You might well have one up here, or you might have one here, something like that, or on the top, but you just need to turn it so that you've got the largest stitch that you can get. Okay, and then what we're going to do is on my foot I've got 3 little lines. So the first one, I'm going to run it so it's right up on that line, as close to that edge as I can get it. Okay, and I'm going to run it all the way to the end. You don't have to do a back stitch on this, but what you do need to do is make sure you've got a nice long end on it. Okay, and then we're just going to place it under the foot. And we're going to just pop that down nice and close to that edge, and I'm going to just run a whole line of stitches right the way along. So that's just my machine, don't take no notice. And try and keep it on that edge if you can, on that line on my foot. If you haven't got one of those, you can sort of work at a place where it's going to work for you and just run it along. Once you get to the end, you want to pull yourself a nice long piece of thread, and then pull that out, cut that off. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to do it from behind the sewing machine. Okay, and then you're going to go again, but this time you're going to try and put it slightly further over. So you want it to come so that it's coming. Sorry, a moment. You want it to come underneath that stitch. So I'm going to put my stitch on that line there, and I'm going to follow it along all the way along. Just keep going just the same as you just did. Okay, until you get to the end. So the next thing you want to do is to take your piece of fabric with the right side facing. And what I did was, you could draw this on, but I've just gone on and did it with the iron. I just ironed it along at 1/4 inch. And then you're going to get your piece of gathered fabric, which is gathered there, and then you're just going to pull the 2 stitches which were from the bobbin, the 2 threads which are from the bobbin. You don't want to pull all 4, you just want to pull the bobbin too, so the top, those 2 there, and then just pull them along until you get a gather which goes all the way along your leg, and then you want to pop it onto there, right side facing. So you want it to go on so that you've got your, this is the right side facing up and this is the right side facing downwards, okay? And you want to put it on and you're going to pin it all the way along, just like that, onto there, getting your gathers nicely all the way along so you've got your gathers sat in there beautifully, okay? I did actually put too much on it, so it's actually 16.5 you need to cut and not 20.5, okay? So once you've got them pinned, they should look something like this, okay? And then we're going to take them to the machine and we're just going to machine all the way across with just an ordinary stitch on a number 4, okay? So I will just do 2 stitches on, and I'm just wanting to go just under that 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to do 3 stitches back. That was more than 3, but okay. All right, and then we're just going to carry on and we're going to go all the way around, but we want to be underneath that stitch where you did your tacking stitch. I've gone back to a number 4 as well. When I get to the pin, just pull them out, okay? So just keep going around. And when you get to pieces like this, just try and lay them down flat like that, so you're not getting on a bump, okay? Take your pins out and then just carry on all the way around. To pull that one a bit so that lay in a bit nicer. There. Okay. Just do that until you get to the end and put a back stitch at the end. To the end, and I'm just going to do a little back stitch. 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, I went a bit too far. Okay, and I'm going to come off there. Now I'm going to change my foot into a wider mouth foot. And I'm going to put a zigzag stitch all the way along there. If you've got a serger, you could take it to the serger and run the serger along the edge. But I haven't got a serger, so I'm going to just use a zigzag stitch. So just pop that thread out the back. Take your fabric, put it underneath there, and then we're going to do the zigzag. I'm going to change it, and I'm going to just change mine here. Yours might be here or here or here. Okay, so I'm just going to do it into the zigzag, and I'm just going to run along and go all the way along, and that will just keep that nice and neat in there. I'll just leave that like that. Now you need to go and do exactly the same to your other leg, okay? So you now should have 2 pieces which look just like this. Just go ahead and tidy it up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take it to the machine and we're just going to fold it over like that, and we're just going to just give it a little press all the way along, just so that it sits nicely and nice and flat like that, okay? So you now should have 2 pieces which look like this. This will be the front and this will be the back, okay? So I'm just going to turn them so they're the right side. That one's going to come face up, and this one's going to come face down. You want to pull this piece of fabric up which you folded at the top, okay? You want it up like that for when you're sewing this bit. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 pieces and make sure you've got your 2 back pieces together, okay? Because obviously your back is going to be longer than your front, all right? And what you want to do is you just want to pin that 1/4 inch there, because we're just going to sew just that bit there to there, and then we're going to leave this piece open, and then we're going to sew all the way down to here on that 1/4 inch. So just put another pin in there and a pin in, a couple of more pins in here, like that. 1 and 2. Okay, and then on this side you're going to sew the whole thing down. And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to put elastic in, so the elastic needs to go in through this hole here at the back. So you're going to sew this piece right the way through it down, so the whole thing right down. Okay, so just pin it along and then go to the sewing machine. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to go all the way to the top. So this is the front of your shorts. Just keeping it on that very edge there. Okay, so we've done that. Do 3 stitches back now. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll lift that off. And then we're going to go to the other side. And here we're just going to do that 1/4 inch. We're just going to come in and we're going to put it on just like we usually would do. Start us off, make sure you've got this on the side, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, forward. And stop. Okay, and then we're going to lift it. Okay, and I'm going to bring it down to the where that line is, where you've ironed, and you're going to do 2 stitches forward, and I'm going to do 3 stitches back. There we go, and I'm going to go right down to the bottom. And then we're going to do those 3 stitches back. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So your 2 pieces should now be joined together just like that. And what you want to do next is just fold that down over your 1/4 inch all the way around, like that. And then fold it over again so you're onto your 1/2 inch. Just like that. And then get that nice and laying, nice and straight. Okay, all the way around. I want that one to go that way if I can. And the one with the hole, you want it to face that way if you can. Oh, actually, that's wrong. Okay, and we'll do that. I just realised I didn't put the zigzag in. I'll just go and do the zigzag now, and I'll show you how to do that. Just make sure you change that wide mouth foot before you do your zigzag. So I've just put my fabric in, and I'm just going to do the zigzag, run it down through, all the way down these 2 side seams. That's just my machine. And just run it. To the bottom, okay? And do exactly the same on the other side. So I don't know if you can see this, but what I've done is I've made sure that my seam is going that way, so that when I've got this and I actually put this onto the thing, this is where my hole is, so it should make that easier to be able to thread my elastic through. I'm just going to come to the very edge, and I'm going to do a seam all the way around, just ordinary stitches. So make sure you turn back to your plain stitch and just come round. And I'm just going to do 3 back stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go all the way around. If you notice it's starting to come out off that line, just fold yourself back under. Okay, go all the way around. Coming up to the end there, and I want to go over those stitches there, and just do 2 back stitches or 3. There you go. Okay, and then bring that off, and then we're going to put the elastic into it. Just one thing I forgot to say was I took my box off, and I've just put the whole thing over the arm of the machine like that, and it goes much easier to go around like that. Okay. So I'm just going to put some pins now. So you've got this, I've put a little pencil mark just down the back to let me know that this is the back, because you can see that the back is slightly, needs to be slightly higher than the front. And I'm just going to pop some pins into this bit here at the bottom where the pants line up. And I just want to go across like that and do that. And then what you want to do here is just run straight across there like that, and right across there, and then straight across there, just to finish those frills off at the bottom. Okay, and you do that on your 1/4 inch seam. So I'm just going to run backward a few back stitches, just do 1 or 2 on, and then run some backwards and straight across, keeping that on that 1/4 inch. And it's the white bit which you want to keep on the 1/4 inch, the actual gusset of the pants. Okay, oh, I've got a pin there. Let's just take that one out. And then right to the end. And then do a few back stitches. And actually on the fabric, there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you saw that. So I just want now to cut that along where that is, just like that, and then we're going to do a zigzag all the way across, okay? So change your foot again, and just run straight across with a zigzag. Right, so I'm just changing it to zigzag, and I'll just run straight the way across. So now we just need to grab a piece of elastic, pop it around whatever doll you're going to be making the outfit for. Okay, and then just, you want to pull it a little bit. You want it a reasonably snug fit, okay? So pull it, yeah, I'm happy with about there. Okay, so I'm going to cut it there. Okay, and then what we need to do is find yourself a safety pin. I had one on the table a moment ago. Okay, so now find that little hole on the back, and then just pop your safety pin in with your elastic on it, and you're just going to pull it all the way through. Now what you might want to do is to grab a hold of your end, because I've done this so many times, and just pop a pin into it. We had a pin there, sorry, and just pop a pin in there just to hold that end piece in place, but don't attach it to any of the other bits, and then go all the way around, and then you can take it out just before you finish. Now when you get to this seam bit here, you might have a job getting it through, and it's just about wiggling it until you get it to go through. And then we get to here, take your pin out, because obviously it won't go through your pin, and just pop your pin on the other side so that doesn't pull out. Okay, and then push this through. Now when you get to here, obviously you're going to be the other side of the seam, so you just want to wiggle that until you get it to come through, and it will go through eventually. Just keep pushing at it. There we go, it's coming. Okay, there, that's it. Alright, there you go. Okay, so you've got it to go through, and then just go around and just check it all the way around, and check that you haven't got any twists in it. Okay, no, that feels pretty good. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. Check, yeah. Okay, it's not so it doesn't matter so much with this very small elastic like that. It would be worse if it was the bigger elastic, but this is pretty okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this to the machine, and we're going to pull it right out like that, and we're going to machine these two pieces together. So we're going to go backwards and forwards over these two pieces here. Okay, so what I've done is I've popped a pin into it, and then I've dropped my needle into the down position. I'm going to keep it on my zigzag stitch. I'm just going to do a couple of stitches just to hold it, and then I'm going to whip my pin out, and then I'm going to just do some backwards and forward stitches. There we go. That should be enough just to hold it in place. There you are. As you can see, that's holding it nice and tight there. Now just to tidy up any loose ends which you've got anywhere, and in here we want to just tuck that inside, and you can use, I had a very small pair of scissors, we'll just use this quick one, but you can use something with a little point on it just to poke that inside, just like that. And then we're just going to do some little stitches just to hold that knot there at the back. So you can just put some stitches just across there, run a row of just plain stitches, okay? And that will keep that at the back. Then go around and tidy up any little loose ends that you might have, okay? So that's my whole outfit finished now. I hope you really enjoyed it. I love it all, my top, my shorts and my hair band. I hope you'll come and subscribe to my channel and leave me some comments underneath this video on what you think we should do. If you think that it would look nice if we put any ribbons or anything else on it. Okay, see you all later. I hope you enjoyed this. Goodbye.